Iowa man convicted of killing his father, mother and sister. In the early morning hours of June 15, 2021, a chilling 911 call shattered the peace of an affluent Cedar Rapids, Iowa neighborhood. "I've been shot. My other family members have been shot. I need help immediately," the caller gasped. The voice belonged to 20-year-old Alexander Jackson, who claimed an intruder had broken into his family home. What initially appeared to be a home invasion would soon unravel into one of the most disturbing cases of family violence in Cedar Rapids history. The Jacksons were, by all outward appearances, living the American dream. Jan Jackson had built a successful career in IT, while his wife Melissa had recently retired to pursue her passion for photography. Their children, Alexander and 19-year-old Sabrina, both attended college and had been accomplished high school students. Both siblings had played in the school band, Alex on flute and Sabrina on oboe. Alex had even achieved the prestigious rank of Eagle Scout, a testament to his character and dedication. Living in an upscale neighborhood at the end of a quiet dead-end street, the Jacksons kept to themselves but were respected within the community. They had no local extended family and maintained a relatively small circle of friends, focusing primarily on their immediate family unit. When police responded to Alex's 911 call that June morning, they approached with caution, unsure what to expect. The initial report suggested a home invasion, but several aspects immediately struck the responding officers as unusual. The house showed no signs of forced entry. Every door and window was locked except for one basement-level back door. The scene was so quiet that officers initially suspected a swatting incident, where someone makes a false emergency call to provoke a police response. What they discovered inside the home, however, was far more horrific than they could have imagined. Jan Jackson lay dead on the living room floor, having been shot multiple times. Upstairs, they found Melissa Jackson's body in the master bedroom and Sabrina in her own room. The forensic examination would later reveal the brutal extent of the violence. Jan had been shot 5 times in the chest, neck, and back, while both Melissa and Sabrina had each been shot twice in the head. Alexander, the only survivor, had sustained a single gunshot wound to his foot. Alex's account of the morning's events raised immediate suspicions among investigators. He claimed he had been sleeping on the porch when he was awakened by gunshots. According to his story, he encountered a masked intruder inside the house and engaged in a struggle, during which he was shot in the foot. However, his description of the attacker was remarkably vague, simply a tall man in black clothing wearing a mask. Several aspects of the physical evidence contradicted Alex's narrative. Despite his claim of a violent struggle, the house showed no signs of a fight. A puzzle on a nearby table remained perfectly intact, its pieces undisturbed. The murder weapon was found to be the family's own .22 caliber rifle, which belonged to Alex. This particular firearm was so unique in its operation that even trained law enforcement officers needed to consult an instructional video to understand how to load it. The gun had been fired more than 11 times, meaning it had been reloaded during the attack, a detail that would become crucial to the investigation. The likelihood of an intruder being able to operate this specific weapon, much less reload it during a killing spree, seemed increasingly improbable. As detectives dug deeper, more inconsistencies emerged in Alex's story. While he claimed to have been sleeping without his phone until the shooting began around 8 a.m., his cell phone records showed activity as early as 6 a.m. The house's external surveillance system was comprehensive, yet the one camera that would have captured the alleged intruder's entry and escape was the only one not functioning. The physical evidence told its own story. Blood trails from Alex's foot wound showed footprints leading only in one direction, out of his room. There were no prints indicating movement around the house to check on family members, despite his claims of trying to help them. K-9 units found no scent trail of another person leaving the property, and nearby construction workers reported hearing and seeing nothing unusual that morning. Perhaps most tellingly, Alex's behavior during questioning struck investigators as odd. He showed little emotion when discussing his family's deaths, at times even chuckling during interviews. When asked about his family, his responses seemed rehearsed rather than genuine, stating, "I love my family," in a way that investigators described as lacking passion or raw emotion. As investigators probed beneath the family's seemingly perfect surface, they discovered mounting tensions. Alex had dropped out of college and was unemployed, with only $30 to his name. His father had recently begun pressuring him to find employment, threatening to withdraw financial support if he didn't show more initiative. Jan had told his son he would need to move out if he couldn't find a job. The family dynamic was further complicated by political differences. Alex and his father shared conservative views, while Sabrina's journals revealed her more liberal leanings, leading to frequent arguments between the siblings. Investigators discovered a 4-year gap in family photos, suggesting a period of strained relationships that contrasted sharply with their earlier appearance of closeness. During questioning, Alex's account began to shift and show inconsistencies. In the ambulance, he told paramedics, "I ran into him. I charged my foot." At the hospital, his story evolved, "I pushed him. Tried to take the gun." When detectives pressed for more details, Alex claimed he had been sleeping on the porch until hearing gunshots. Yet his phone records showed social media activity at 6 a.m. In January 2023, Alexander Jackson faced trial for 3 counts of first-degree murder. The prosecution built a compelling case around the physical evidence and the impossibilities in Alex's story. They emphasized how the murder weapon required specific knowledge to operate, the lack of evidence of an intruder, and the numerous inconsistencies in Alex's timeline. The defense attempted to create reasonable doubt by pointing to an unidentified partial fingerprint on the rifle and accusing investigators of tunnel vision. They argued that law enforcement had decided on Alex's guilt within 35 minutes of arriving at the scene, potentially overlooking other suspects or explanations. After 5.5 hours of deliberation, the jury returned with their verdict, guilty on all 3 counts. Alexander Jackson, showing no emotion as the verdict was read, was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for each count. A subsequent motion for a new trial was denied. The Jackson family murders profoundly impacted Cedar Rapids. As First Assistant Lynn County Attorney Monica Slaughter noted, it was unprecedented in her career to prosecute a triple homicide where family members were killed by one of their own. The community struggled to comprehend how a young man with no criminal history or documented mental health issues could commit such a horrific act against his own family. The case was particularly troubling because it defied simple explanation. Despite the clear evidence of his guilt, Alexander Jackson never provided a reason for his actions. The tragedy served as a stark reminder that sometimes the greatest dangers can lie within the family unit itself, and that appearances of perfection can mask deeper, deadly troubles. Today, the Jackson family murders stand as one of the most disturbing cases in Cedar Rapids history. For investigators, prosecutors, and community members, the case remains haunting not just for its brutality, but for its senselessness. The question of why Alexander Jackson chose to destroy his family may never be answered. The case also highlighted the complexities of family violence and the challenges in identifying warning signs. On the surface, the Jacksons appeared to be a model family, educated, accomplished, and close-knit. Their tragedy serves as a sobering reminder that domestic violence can exist behind any facade, and that family relationships can harbor deadly undercurrents beneath seemingly calm waters. For Cedar Rapids, a community where such violence is rare, the murder of an entire family by one of their own remains a chilling reminder that some crimes defy simple explanation. The truth of what drove Alexander Jackson to commit these horrific acts may remain forever locked within him, leaving 3 lives cut tragically short and a community forever changed by the violence that shattered their sense of security on that summer morning in 2021.